One. Welcome everyone. This is Yarlacoats here from a long hiatus of a broken computer, and it's fixed, and we are gaming again. Unfortunately, it's been a busy summer for a lot of our players, Skirb included. He is out fishing. Skirb, we miss you. Have fun fishing. Don't worry about XP. You'll totally be caught up with these guys. You've done your part. So, how is everyone doing, and how have you been doing since this long break?
Horrible. I mean, fantastic, but horrible at the same time.
Well, I mean, you got to spend more time with the missus, right?
They just played the fifth on that one.
Yeah, you're right, I have. Because your computer was down too during that time. We were actually going to game later in June, but then Ethan's computer died.
Yep. But it's all good now.
Yep. So between dying computers, and then what's funny is the guy I normally stream on his channel with, his computer died, so I've literally just been bored as fuck. But now we're back! So, Ethan, other than spending time with the wife, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Since we last played E3 was out, is there any video games you're excited for?
Shadow of the Colossus Remastered. That's actually one that I'm really looking to, because I love that game. That Days Gone game. I'm really interested to see how that's going to be.
Rad.
And, you know, a few others here and there. I'm kind of waiting for info on Last of Us 2, if they're going to release any more info on that.
If it's Sony, they're going to, like, probably release all the info next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame them. They probably also are doing that strategically because they don't want Days Gone and Last of Us 2 to compete with one another.
Yeah.
So, but we will see. We will see. Well, that's good. I'm pretty excited for Metro Exodus. I just love the idea of being able to go out and explore in a free roam environment. So,
I actually forgot Wolfenstein. I'm really looking forward.
In fact, I'm going to be doing playthroughs of... I'm also excited for Shadows of War. I'm going to be playing Shadows of Mordor, and a lot of the prequel games I'm going to be putting on my channel, and one of them's Wolfenstein New Order, because that was a fantastic game.
Oh, yes. And, absolutely fantastic.
I'd never beat it, so why not, right?
Yeah, you have to. It's fantastic.
Well, see, until I started my YouTube channel, I never beat games because I was always busy. But now that I'm making this something I want to do, and I want to slowly divert more time and resources to it, now it gives me a chance to beat all those games that I was never able to beat before. So, pretty excited.
There we go.
Aaron, how you doing?
Oh, sorry. Okay, there we go. I'm doing okay.
You are really close to your camera because your eyes are not in shot. But it's okay because Maru doesn't have eyes, so no. I saw a house messed you up on Facebook.
Yes. So I was helping my dad move in Tennessee, and the doghouse basically ate the back of my leg. And it's pretty gnarly. It's healed over now, so that's nice. But like, I basically had to move like basically it was a 1,000-pound house. And I almost did it by myself. There was just people who were helping to steady it, but I pretty much had to pull it like a fucking sled dog.
Nice. Was this before or after you were running for shelter from tornadoes? Or during?
It was during, actually. It was great. It was, there was mud and fucking rain. I felt like I was an ox, honestly, doing labor. I also learned that someone in my past... What?
You were Babe, the blue ox. Paul Bunyan's blue ox, Babe.
Yes. Yes, exactly. And I learned a lot of really messed up stuff about some people in my past, but I'm doing a lot better than I was, and I'm happy to be here. even though Maru is now cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
He wasn't before.
Okay, but like that was like a
cuckoo for
fun
Bambi.
cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. You know, now he's serial killer cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. There's a lot about that scene. Ethan and I were talking about it. There's a lot about that scene that occurred that Ethan kind of started to pick up on afterwards, like when you watch the video, that maybe it wasn't as straightforward as everybody thinks. Congratulations, by the way, to Joshua and Ethan for winning the Tides changes this month.
Oh,
so
yeah.
you will see those coming through. I don't want to spoil it for the audience, unless you're part of the
That
Tides
sounds
change
about
crew,
right.
Then you're and we're gonna move on. Aaron, glad you're here. Glad to see you are in brighter spirits, and I hope our torturing Maru continues to bring joy to your little heart.
Did I say that?
You
It
implied
didn't
it.
sound like a thing that I said.
I'm really excited to be here. So glad it's gonna be, like totally like, oh man, I've been waiting for this. And now that I think about it, Maru's just been tortured this entire campaign, and you're like, yeah, I love it.
Not even the campaign. 5 years preceding the start of the campaign.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Maru's entire existence is fucking torture at this point. You know.
But you're excited, and I'm excited, and I will continue to give you what you love, which is more torture.
Yeah.
Josh,
And if he lets up, then the party will have to.
Yeah, the party will keep me in line. They'll be like, yo, bro, you're taking it a little too...
You haven't twisted Maru's nips off in a while.
Yeah.
Come on.
You know he still has 2 arms, right?
Yes.
All right, well, Joshua, how's it been?
Gotta drop those numbers.
Pretty good. Pretty good. I just put in my event request for Brigade Con this year.
Yes,
I'm gonna run 2
is
sessions.
coming, and this is where you're
November
wrapping
4th.
it up, right?
Yep, I'm going to wrap up Heartsfire Saga with that. Been doing some brainstorming on the 2 sessions. I decided on 2 sessions because their sessions are 4 hours each, and 12 hours in a 24-hour period I don't think I could do it justice. So I feel like 2 sessions is about all I could handle. And I'm doing it as a part 1 and part 2, and I've named it the Hands of Fate, and so it will be covering the lead up to and the events of the Battle of Endor, basically, but in my alternate timeline. Since the first Death Star was never destroyed, why would the Battle of Endor occur? That kind of thing. So it's going to be different, but there will be a lot of throwbacks to what we consider canon as well. So
Awesome. And I'm also excited to be in your campaign tomorrow, which by the time
Yep,
YouTube sees
start
this
that up.
video, it will already be done. I'm super excited for
Yeah.
that. Not to
Yeah,
give any spoilers, but I play a protocol droid.
yeah,
A protocol? Not a
he's playing
protocol.
protocol droid.
No, protocol.
This should be pretty interesting. We're going to be using the colonist, the homestead rules in the colonist book, which a lot of people haven't used those optional rules for the group resource as opposed to a ship, which is what almost everybody does, unless you're running a Force of Destiny game, in which case people tend to go with the holocron. But so it'll be interesting seeing how that goes. That campaign is starting 2 years before the Clone Wars breakout, out in the mid-rim, and the party is the owners of a small mine. So you can just see how many different ways this could go bad for them once war breaks out, that kind of stuff.
It's
So.
true. Or it'll be very profitable, and then
Right.
people are going to have their eyes on our mines because it's a war. People need the resources.
Yep.
Excellent. Well, let's cut to the chase and get right into the game, shall we?
Yes.
Title credits fade away, and the camera pans through the clouds of Felucia over a city that it has burned extensively, but a lot of the fires have been put out. The camera goes through the cloud level and starts panning through the city streets, and there's body bags lined up along the sides. Citizens and stormtroopers are out cleaning up. Some infected are dead and hanging out windows. There's spore clouds in certain parts of the city still. So, like, certain parts of the city are belching yellow clouds. They just quarantined the area. Everybody's wearing rebreathers now, so they don't really have to worry about it, and goggles to keep their... As long as they don't ingest any of it, they're fine. So the entire city's starting to wrap up, but this is only moments after a resistance attack. So this is just how coordinated the Moff Sun's forces are. They're quarantining as they go. They're not just slaughtering everything and then returning to do the cleanup work. So certain parts of the city still have infected in it, but they're being hunted down as we speak. However, you guys are in the Warhead Chaser, positioned above the city, which immediately started to turn and head towards the factory district. Now, Joshua knows that the factory district is a couple hours out of town because he rode there on a speeder bike, which is incredibly fast. It'll probably take the Warhead Chaser maybe an hour to get there because you guys are in low grav flight, so it's really slow. Unless you guys want to go faster, then we can trust Gerb with that. We've seen how he is with slicer kits, so I wouldn't recommend it. But you guys are definitely on the way. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to briefly describe a scene to our audience with each of the players. Teal and Ty, you will most likely be together, so I'll describe your scene. And I think everybody wants to know how Maru is doing with how the last episode ended. So we are going to open up with that. Maru, you are still in the medical bay. At this point in time, the nurse's body has been removed, and Tarken has sent several doctors from his ship over to make sure that you're okay. Now, you haven't heard much since you've been in here. You've been going for about 30 minutes since this whole event happened, but from what you did hear, Tarken swears up and down that he has no idea what anybody's talking about, and he hasn't been to the medical facility. So he is denying it. How would that make Maru feel? Would he keep his mouth shut, or would he be upset?
It's clear that Tarken doesn't want him talking about it, and Tarken's the only reason he can see right now. Maru is not a heavy thinker, and he's not a very willful person. He doesn't have the strength of mind or spirit to defy someone who is so clearly in a position of power above him.
Is that why
so he
you
wouldn't
started working for the Empire?
I mean, yeah, they captured me, enslaved me, and then they trained me to be this thing, and I fell into the role.
Interesting.
It's part of...
Even though you're part of a death squad, do you feel like they're slave more than an active member?
Maru doesn't like to think about that. But
how do you feel?
If you ask, if you had to get an answer out of him, the honest one would be yes. He feels like a slave. He would not say that out loud, though. He would never say it out loud.
I imagine so. These people have saved your lives in the past, and you've saved theirs.
Exactly. The members of the Death Squad he feels connected to on a personal level. They're different from the Empire or Tarken. They're people that he has connected with. Whereas Tarken and the Empire were figureheads that he followed because he had no other choice.
Excellent. Now, one last question. You guys have only been together for about a week. A week ago, you were still trapped in a...
Oh, wow. It's been that short time.
Yep.
So, it's almost like you didn't see these people for 5 years and then just kind of puzzle piece your way back into your role, which I think is very important for all of you to realize it's only been 7 days.
This is true. Maru wouldn't feel unfriendly or hostile towards his people. He is upset that he was left there that long, and I mean, it obviously affected him, but he's more glad to see the people that he knew and be back to doing anything, fucking anything, rather than just sitting there listening to
I imagine it's also different now that you found the Empire collapsed. It wasn't like you were left there. It was like, no more Empire.
Exactly.
Well,
And-
I kind
and
of
while-
think with the way he's describing it, like if we weren't in the middle of a mission that where he could fall straight back into step, it would probably be a bigger issue. Like if it was just like you're free and he had time to sit and think, then we probably would have a very
And
upset
that's
Wookiee on our hands.
exactly what I wanted to find out. So you are back to full health miraculously. You don't know why. All your wounds have healed. The wounds that you did have, the scab feels really thick, almost like a callus, but you are healed. So you are literally missing patch. Literally, I hate that. I have a teenage daughter in it. I hate it. Now I'm saying it. But you actually have patches of missing hair all over your body where these scabs from your wounds are. So you kind of look like Patchy Adams over there. But the doctors are not... You're starting to get this sensation that the doctors aren't looking at you as a concern for a patient. They're looking at you as a science experiment. They're like, fascinating. You know, and they're taking vitals and poking at you and prodding at you because they're amazed that you just recovered.
Maru isn't bothered by this. Most of the time that he has been part of the Empire, he hasn't been treated as a person except by the Krayt Squad. And as Maru is thinking about it, he's kind of happy at the thought of being able to help his people. Like, he doesn't like Tarken. He doesn't trust Tarken. But Tarken directly ordered him to take his planet back. And he doesn't know who this Han Solo guy is. But, I mean, most of what Maru has done has helped keep a stable system when he was an active member. So he doesn't feel like he's doing something that is just pure bad. He may be doing a bad thing, but it's to help more people. That's how he rationalizes it.
And that makes perfect sense. One of the scientists comes up to you. They're all taking notes, going back and forth. They've made sure that you're comfortable. They've actually brought you a lot of water, and they're insisting that you are dehydrated, which they think is what contributed to your vision, is massive dehydration. I mean, you were in a prison for 5 years. You haven't had time to recover for like 7 days, and here you are in a hot, humid jungle.
I look at them, and I just say, "You think my eyes stopped working because I was dehydrated?"
No, sir, not your vision, as in physical vision. Your vision. You said that you don't remember anything that happened. You don't remember picking up the nurse and beating her to death.
Oh, right. Sure, whatever.
You remember seeing something else. Tarken. We think it's because you're dehydrated. Drink more water.
Does the water taste funny?
No. Actually, the moment you drink it, you realize you need it. A lot. Like, the moment water hits your mouth, your body is craving water.
I take the bottle out of their hand and I go, more. And I toss it back.
Actually, somebody's coming in with, like, a dolly with a giant 5-gallon thing of water, and they're going to put it in the little cooler there so that you can just drink as much as you'd like.
I go through about, like, 6 canteens, and then I finally feel sated.
No.
No?
Nope. You can.
Okay, well then I just drink.
Yeah, in fact, there's probably one point where you pick it up and you're just like. No, I think you're still seated on the bed, plugged into equipment, but they're bringing cups to you. They just keep refilling it and bringing it back to you, and it's almost like they expect this. Oh yeah, he's probably gonna drink all this. You know, no big deal.
When can I leave?
Once we arrive at the mission goals. Tarken has said that he would like us to keep an eye on you. And that's when the doors open in front of you. You see an Imperial high-ranking ISP medical officer. And the ISB. And he walks in, clicks his heels, Some of the doctors salute, the other ones just nod. And he steps forward towards you. Ah, well, this will only be a brief moment, and then once I'm done, you can be on your way.
Okay.
I need to take a blood sample.
All right.
So he moves over. You don't fight him at all.
No, I've been pricked all day.
Yeah, he finds one of the scabs and just stabs right through it. And for a moment, there's a sharp pain, kind of like a needle hitting a vein wrong, but then it goes away. He's definitely not being gentle. And he pulls it out, sticks it in a vial, and shakes it. And then the vial turns red. He goes, All right, Maru, one more thing. And he motions his hand, and a stormtrooper comes in with a metal case and sets it down. They open it up, and he pulls out what looks like a hyper spray gun, something that they can just inject in you. It's like a super stim pack, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But this one doesn't have a stim pack in it. It's got a little vial and some black... It's got a black square floating in the vial. They're like, this won't hurt a bit. And they move over to your neck. Do you do anything, or do you just sit there?
They've probably done stuff like this the entire time that I've worked with them, trying to make me a better soldier.
Your brows like they did leave the blindfold on. I will tell you, they tried to take it off, but the moment they took it off, the light felt like searing pain to your eyes, and you couldn't see. So the reason why you can see the blindfold is because you have super light sensitivity. So they inject you, and then he nods. And almost as soon as he arrived, all the doctors filter out. You're unplugged from the machine, and you're ready to go.
I crack my neck and crack my knuckles. I slip a little piece of iron in the tube for... it's Fred, right? Or is it Bob? Bob. And then I put him back on my hip, and I grab my spear, and I head out.
All right, yeah. So you grab your spear, which has been returned to you. The moment you open the door, a couple of the stormtroopers standing there kind of look at you nervously, but then look forward. And the only reason why I say nervously is because their helmets weren't fluid. They look over, and then they jerked away. But you're able to proceed throughout the ship.
Well, when I pass them, I go, "Where's the rest of the Krayt Squad?"
Sir, the Krayt Fangs are in a private meeting with Tarken. They'll be ready in a bit. Skirv is on the bridge.
I go hang out with Skirv because I like Skirv.
Yeah, and as soon as you get to the bridge, you see Skirv up there. He's ordering some of the Imperial officers that you guys liberated in the siege, and he's being a total dick about it. And in the corner, you see Tony, and Tony's sweeping one corner with a broom. No dustpan, just sweeping everything back and forth.
Is he saying under his breath 7.769 millimeter?
No, but he is counting. He is counting every stroke. Is that 415, 416, 417?
I look over him and I go, "Hey, Tony," and I go back to Skirv and I go,
420.
"That's pretty funny." Referring to him being a dick to the stormtroopers.
He's like, "Yep, it's good to see you, Maru. Listen, I got a lot of work to do, so if this isn't important, I gotta go."
Oh.
And there's you do notice now that the yellow klaxons that were flashing a moment ago are no longer flashing, but that the ship, the crew on the bridge seems at high alert.
Okay. I go walk over to Tony and I go, "Tony, what's going on? I've been out for a little bit."
421. I'm sorry, Mr. Maru. Skirv has advised me to go stand in the corner and think about what I've done. He also told me to sweep the same spot 5,256 times, and then I may exit. I'm also not allowed to talk to anybody. But since you're a superior officer, I suppose it's a good thing. Also, there's a cat in the ship.
I think that Skirb was messing with you. You don't have to do that anymore.
432, 433. That's nice of you, but I'd rather not disobey orders. 441, 442.
But I'm ordering you
And
to
this part
belay
of the-
those orders.
This part of the ship is really, I mean, this thing was dusty because it was buried underground, but this little corner he's in, polished. In fact, the broom bristles are getting shorter. He's just like,
Where did you see the cat?
I don't know. I just heard him on the bridge. It's really weird. It's almost as if some lady went on the bridge and dropped her cat off and then left and shut the door, and now the cat is stuck on the bridge.
Okay. Well, bye then. I go to the bridge. See if this cat wants to hang out while I wait for the rest of my friends.
And it's a black cat with yellow eyes who likes to climb on everything and claw my leg.
I give him a scritch.
Yeah, and then he goes and runs away.
Fuck you too.
All right, so meanwhile, the camera flies through the ship like people are walking around and the camera's almost going under legs and over boxes, and it gets to a conference room where Ty and Teal are standing and Tarkin's pacing by the window. I don't know where this rubbish came from, but I've never been in the medical bay.
I think it was most likely a hallucination from stressors of
Teal,
nearly dying.
would you have told him what the nurse said when she grabbed you and went, Tarkin did it. It was Tarkin.
No.
Okay, so he's like, well, I just want to see the best for Maru. He's a Wookiee after all, but he's done well by us. He has provided you guys with a lot of assistance in the past. Do you think he'll be battle ready?
He's in perfect health as far as I can tell.
Excellent. My sources say the same thing. However, we are concerned.
I'll make sure that he knows that, sir.
We've placed a tracker on him. No need. If it comes down to it, you guys will be ordered to take him out. That is all. Turns on his heel. Oh, and also, I hope you have a good military strategy for when we take this position. And
Yes, sir. We devised something.
I want the moff executed. Not
Of course.
silently murdered. I want him dragged out, and I want him to pay.
Yes, sir.
I don't care if you only drag half of him out, as long as he is still alive by the time he gets to me.
We'll do our best, sir.
Lieutenant? He makes eye contact with Teal.
Teal just does the silent nod thing that he does most of the time anyway.
He's almost being sarcastic when he speaks. I noticed you've been particularly quiet, quieter than your file would indicate. Do you have anything to say to me?
Teal just kind of looks towards Ty. We've
Let
got a
me
plan.
rephrase. Has there been anything that Captain Flynn has done to jeopardize this mission or cause the clusterfuck that has pulled me away from paradise to come over here and clean it up? Those are his wife's words, by the way. He smiles over at Ty. But it's a wry, one-sided smile.
Teal will get this like cool expression even for a Chiss before saying, this mission has been compromised from the beginning, but I do not believe any of its compromises came from the sergeant or
Captain.
Lieutenant. Insert title here.
Excellent. Regardless, my hands are tied. To appease the fleet admirals that are starting to form their ships, I've been advised to place someone else in charge of the mission.
Who would that be, sir?
He points to a ring finger. I'll meet you in the war room, and turns his heels and leaves.
I will wait. Just hit the table. Damn it!
As soon as the door closes, Teal's going to say, or he's going to open his mouth as though he's going to say something, and then he's going to look at Flynn again and go, huh. As I said, compromised from the beginning, as he turns and heads for the door.
I'm just going to let him go because I want to punch him in his stupid blue face right now.
Maru just laughs convulsively for no reason whatsoever on somewhere else on the ship.
The cat goes.
He just knows something hilarious happened.
You scare the cat and it runs even faster. You're just like, kitty.
Oh. Damn it. I'm going to head to the war room.
Yeah, so is that where you're going, Teal?
Yeah.
Teal, are you moving there with purpose, or are you just making sure you get there?
I mean, it's a small ship, so there's only so many ways you can take to get to the war room. Teal is going to attempt to find the slowest way to get there.
Makes sense. And to tell you the truth, the way
He is walking with purpose, so no one can accuse him of it, and he can always say, I'm not familiar with the ship design in the future, but he is taking the route that will take the longest.
Excellent. So to give you guys an idea of what the hallways of a warrior class vessel is, it's not nice and sleek, or not warrior, sorry, the warhead chaser, which is a interceptor class. They're very small, and instead of it being the black polished hallways of normal Star Destroyers, we're actually looking at more like modern day battleship hallways where you gotta duck and lift a foot to get inside the bulkheads, as this ship is designed to take so much torpedo fire. It's very heavily armored. It's designed also so that if a part of the ship does become breached, you can shut that part off and still operate. So yeah, you're like,
so we're in a submarine.
Right, exactly. There's a little T in the causeway, and you just turn to the left when you know you should go straight. Now, the rooms, on the other hand, are very properly furnished, much like a submarine. They actually do look like real rooms. The conference room looks really nice. The war room is a big round room with a holopad in the middle. It reminds me of those old 1800s medical colleges where they would perform dissections in the middle of the floor and everybody's sitting amphitheater style in popcorn box seating. That's what it's like in the war room. And as soon as Teal turns a corner and starts heading the long way, Ty comes through. And Ty, how are you moving? Are you visibly pissed off?
I'm moving quicker than what normally people would do, and I do have a pissed off look. Although a lot of people think, well, that's just how Ty looks. But I got like a really pissed off look right now.
Yeah, so it's really pissed off. So stormtroopers see you coming, and they just stand to the side so that you can walk by and give you a salute.
I kind of give half-ass salute and a grunt.
Yeah. Maru, you are immediately paged on the bridge, and Skirb looks back at you. Buddy, they need you in the war room.
All right. I go over there as quickly as possible.
As you're leaving, you hear 926, 927, 928.
Keep going at it, buddy. You'll get there.
Oh, I know. It's just a matter of
Question for
counting
clarification.
Sorry. Go ahead.
The doctor that Maru shredded was the doctor we had rescued earlier, right? Or was it a different doctor? Okay.
Yeah.
Double checking.
Maru
Nice.
is sad
It's
about
the really
that.
talented, nice blonde lady that actually treated Maru with some kind of shred of kindness and respect, and he shredded her in return.
I didn't shred her. Tarken did it.
Same difference.
It's funny, my dad and I were hanging out the other day, and we made fun of my mom. She's like, I want to do this. And he was like, wow, that's a great idea. Do you sell tickets to stupid? And him and I look at each other, and we're like, ah! And then my mom made up a good point. She goes, you two, you remind me of those old man puppets in the Muppet Show. And I was like,
Ouch.
anyway, so, yeah, Maru arrives in the war room probably before you guys because of where the bridge is located.
Mhm.
And Ty's the next one to arrive. And Ty, let's narrate with you. You open the doors.
Okay.
And there's the war room. You have to go down, kind of like in Congress, downstairs to get to the bottom of the amphitheater. And there's a big hollow table. There's a handful of soldiers. Most of the people inside the seating are all pilots, like the leaders of the flight squadrons. The general from the jungle, he's kind of like, he's not cross-armed. He's smoking his cigar, but his arm is folded over and he's like running his fingers on his bicep. And he seems unfazed by everybody here, but the moment that he sees you, he like gives you like a "hey buddy" kind of nod, and just puffs slowly. His silver hair with the scars running through his head is seen on the side. He's not wearing any hats or anything like that. Still wearing his jungle commando gear. His boots are still yellow from all the fungus that has caked on them as he murdered and killed his way through the jungle. But everyone else looks like they're from different ships within the fleet. And there are 3 chairs down at the bottom. Tarken is already sitting in the largest one. And then there's 2 more chairs flanking him. And entering a bunch of data into the war tables that sat in front of him in the center of the room is your wife. There's a couple pages running up and getting her information. And you can see that she's testing the hologram, like just making sure that each slide is working. And one of the slides that pops up is like Krayt Squadron failure rate or mission effectiveness. And she's rated the Krayt Squadron at a 72% effectiveness on this mission.
I'm going to set my. I'm gonna walk to one side of the table where I'm just kind of opposite of hers and set my data pad down and just start trying to get all my stuff together with the plan that I've talked with the guys about.
Yeah,
I whisper
forward. Maru is actually he's sitting in a smaller seat, kind of like, I don't know if you remember the show Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and you know how they were all in little like round bar stools sitting around the I fucked up my camera, sitting around the center. That's exactly what they're doing, and Maru's in one of those seats. And as you get down, you put your tab, you see Maru. In comes Teal a little later than you and starts coming down the steps.
Teal, when he enters, has his helmet on. Because he has a feeling there's going to be a lot of things that he's going to make facial expressions in this meeting that he does not want to piss off higher-ups.
Your fucking helmet has a visor like Chappie, and it just shows sad emotes and stuff. Yeah, so you come in fully armored, which is awesome. You get mad respect from the general when you do that. He's like, hell yeah. As you walk by. Totally got a soldier boner for that one, you know. But as you're moving down the steps, you also notice that the officer who's in charge of those really badass stormtroopers is sitting next to Maru, and he kind of looks back at you and nods and then continues to pay attention to the center. I imagine everybody getting ready. This is kind of like when you go to see a concert with an actual symphony, and at the beginning you just hear the and the drone of like instruments getting in tune and stuff. It's just a drone of people talking as they're getting ready. There are a couple laughs, like pilots joking about rebels that they've killed. You do see there in one section there's pilots painting on their helmets, but for the most part the hubbub is down to business. This is the first time in 5 years that you've seen an Imperial fleet meeting, and it feels good.
Maru would first turn to Ty and go, well, this meeting's going about as well. He's speaking in a hushed tone about as well as expected, considering, you know, your wife's in charge and she's being a bitch. So, no surprises.
I love the idea of this blindfolded Wookiee just like, hey man, your wife's total like bitch, I'm there for you though. Like, that's a bro conversation.
70
He's sitting there blindfolded like he's a fucking prophet. He's just like, your wife's a little bitch. I just
72%? Really? Fuck you. You don't know.
I'll give him a pat on the shoulder and just go,
bitch.
well, we just have to take out the moff and we can show her how much our success rate actually is.
100% of the time.
100% of the time, it works 72% of the time. All right, so Joshua, Teal, you're coming down as it looks. You see Maru lean in and deliver a hush statement to Ty. And Ty, are you just ignoring it?
I'm just kind of like just nodding along as I'm getting my data pad set up, and I'm also kind of like every once in a while just looking up at my wife because I'm seeing what she's doing.
Yeah, she shows imagery of the burning dreadnought like falling apart in the sky and all the dead Imperials they found in the jungles.
Not our fault.
She shows an image of a damaged ATPT on the ground that looks like it's been through hell, and a dead Imperial officer's hand coming out the back who wasn't able to get out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and she also shows images of a bunch of corpses of women and their children that were killed on a bridge of a starship.
Oh,
that wasn't my fault.
Teal, for his part, has found himself a seat, probably a little bit away from them because they were already seated and the room was probably pretty full. So he's just kind of sitting, listening, and watching.
Well, if you sit
he's looking straight ahead.
Sit in the seats that are right on the floor, these are the important players. There's not a whole lot of people there. It's the officer from the kick-ass squad, Maru, the general standing by one of his seats. And there was a place for the nurse, but she's dead now. So basically, you could sit in any one of those.
Okay, he's not going to sit on the center row. He's going to sit back a row to where he can.
Oh, kind of like with the pilots.
Watch. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, those seats are pretty packed, so you just pick a spot.
Find a spot, and he's watching ahead as though he's looking at the thing, but he's actually listening more to the discussion between the pilots and the rank and file of the Imperials.
Yeah, and as you're sitting there, this gentleman looks at you and elbows you and goes, "Krayt Squad, huh?"
I don't turn my head towards him. I keep looking ahead. I just give the slight nod.
You're an inspiration to all of us. This meeting's fucking bullshit. And that's probably, if you were to turn your head, you'd see a lot of the pilots are just glaring at the 72% and all these negative imagery, and they're just like...
Fuck.
So
do I hear them make these condescending remarks?
Actually, yes, you hear everything perfectly. Every little conversation, every whisper, everything you hear perfectly.
I walk over to
now you do know, just out of character, you do know they're defending you, right?
Oh
yeah,
no!
They were
I thought they were being sarcastic little shits.
No, they were. Teal overheard them sitting next to you. As they're like, "This is a fucking disgrace," and they're getting pissed at all the images. They're upset.
I thought they were pissing on us, and I was about to tell them.
No,
this
is a good example of soldiers en masse.
Yeah, soldiers with
COs are fucking shitting on other soldiers, and it's like, dude, they charged Omaha Beach. Give them a fucking break. Or the 501st got lost in the goddamn Europe and secured the entire rear line while we were dying on the beach. Give them a fucking break. It's a lot like that.
Yeah.
And they're getting irritated because it just seems like Brass is browbeating you guys. And Brass being
all right, cool. Never mind.
Of a wife.
I instead looked over. I look over to them and I go, "Thanks, appreciate it."
Hang on 1 second, guys.
Just make the windows smaller, honey. Please. It's really embarrassing.
The cat broke the door on the bridge. Trying to put his claw under it to pull it out. He actually broke one of the hinges. So now it's lopsided. But he got out. what my cats do when they get trapped in the room is the little ones go meow, 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 and then my Maine Coon, which is the size of a little smaller than a medium dog's like, wow, I'll help you. So it's not shut.
And if you
now.
do not want the door ripped off the hinges, you must go open the door immediately at that point.
Yes, and then he's gonna look around, come inside. You're gonna shut the door, and he's gonna go, never mind, nothing cool's happening here. Anyway, so back to the game. Back to the game. So yeah, but Maru, you hear everything. In fact, you find yourself whenever there is a noise, like somebody drops a pin, you find your head jerking over in that direction naturally. That was my headset flopping around.
I kind of scratch my head at this, thinking to myself. Then I stop that. I don't do that anymore. And I just look at my hand and I look around and I like pull my ear a little and I shake it off.
Do Wookiees have ears, or are they just holes?
I don't know.
I'm sure that they have something
They have a lobe.
similar.
So you're sitting there playing with your, like, your little Martian lobe. Under all the hair, it's like Shrek. Yeah, but no, I get it. You're like pulling on your ear, like, what the fuck's going on? Teal, what's your response when the soldiers are talking? Do you actually acknowledge them, or do you just continue playing like cool man loot?
Teal is waiting to see what the actual briefing ends up doing before he reacts to it. Basically, like, he's listening to that and he's kind of watching what the briefing setup is. But basically, the main thing he's paying attention to, other than like trying not to do things, is he's keeping an eye on Maru because he's not really sure what to make of what happened.
Yeah, you look over, Maru whispers to Ty, and then you see him.
Right. So all the more reason to not know what the heck's going on with Maru.
I feel like that would be fairly normal for Maru, just going...
Yeah, normally...
This doesn't seem totally out of Maru's character.
Normally...
If I was paying attention, that'd be
half
weirder.
that speed.
Oh.
Like I feel like the way you're describing it right now is it's like, okay, did someone give Maru cocaine? Or is something else going on here?
I got some spice, guys! It's great!
And if it's doing this
he's
to
like, I got
Wookiee,
death sticks. He's
that's
eating them like
acceptable.
pixie sticks instead of smoking them. He's just like,
Carry it.
Ty,
Yes.
your wife turns to you. Are you ready?
After you.
So the lights dim, people hush. She turns towards the crowds, and the light in the middle, there's like a spotlight that lights up the entire middle area. Oh yes, thank you, people. I'm
Aha!
brilliant.
Destiny.
Destiny.
You forgot!
I forgot. I forgot we were playing a rolling game.
Oh, I got 2 light side! Yay for
you
me!
guys, hang on. I didn't even clear the pool.
Stay full of GM.
Hang on, I'm still gonna give Maru the light. That was pretty rad.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sync pool GM one more time, guys. Or not. 2 and
Not
2.
Well,
yet.
I'm good. I got you.
Ethan, roll me. Or that was.
Hey!
This is my only chance.
Wow.
Shit!
Everyone but the GM rolls doubles. What the heck?
It's because we're too dope.
Alright. Back
That is true.
to what I was saying before I was rudely interrupted. Alright, so
You're welcome.
so lights turn out. There's a big bright light though, so if any of the generals want to protest or add to the conversation, they can just stand up in their chair and still be in the light so that all the audience members can see. But Teal, you cannot see the people on the other side of the room, the audience members. It's completely pitch black. And Tarken is just sitting there with his hand on his chin, watching the main players present. Ty's wife steps forward. Everyone, I think it is important now than ever, especially with the grace of Tarken, that we remember one word. Unity. She says that, and the word unity flashes in the air in Arabish. Unity is very important. Without unity, terrible things happen in a mission. She shows an image of the dreadnought. Without unity, we lose people and we lose resources. And we lose political ground. She shows images of resistance in the factory painting phoenixes on the wall. And stormtroopers trying to paint over them and ignore it like nothing's happening. And without unity, we can't even discipline a moff who's gone rogue. Without our own risks and endeavors and failures. And she shows a picture of the ATPT. And this is what brings me to my main point. Krayt Squadron. And then it shows an image of the 5 of you, the 5th person being the member who passed away. Krayt Squadron has made this meeting possible. They've unmasked the Moff's villainous, treacherous deeds and the honorable deeds of the Moff's son. Yet, I wonder, is this really worth everything that we had to pay to get to this point? The failures that happened to Krayt Squad, she motions towards you, are not their failures. They're yours. From what I understand, Tarken messaged you guys several weeks ago, talking about a collaborative effort to harness these planets that are still within our control, rein them back in, and use their resources. Yet you sat on your fat butts and did nothing. He pulls a death squad out of retirement who has to go against unsurmountable odds and jump through hoops of bullshit. She pounds her fist on the table. Just to get the goddamn job done. Every one of you officers who sat there in the comfort of your own planet knowing that Felicia was on the brink of loss and doing nothing. You are all to blame for this. You're all to blame for Jakku. Immediately, there's a lot of disapproval coming from the crowd around Teal. She goes, aren't you? Never once has the Empire ever run from a fight. Yet Jakku was us running and them finally catching up to us. And we ran right into a trap. And those of us that survived only survived because we splintered away from the group. Unity! She screams. I had to drive myself back and forth to all the corners of the galaxy, missing time away from my sweet husband. She looks over at him. And in his loneliness, while I stitched this empire together, he has found himself in another woman's bed. None of this would have happened if we remembered unity. Now, for our attack plan, I turn the table over to Captain Ty Flynn of Krayt Squadron, who has an idea of how we're going to handle this. And this is where we're going to end part 1 of this week's episode of Dust to Dust. Thank you all for joining. And please hit a like on that like button if you liked what you saw. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and tune in for part 2. Thank you very much.
Threw your dirty laundry everywhere. Oh my god.
Wow, don't I have egg on my face?
That's true.